guys, and welcome back to an episode of Off the Shelf. I'm your host, Ernest Rishi, and this week, what we found off the shelf was...
ところでお主、野口を30人ほど食ってみる気はないか。
Seven Samurai, directed by the legendary Akira Kurosawa, starring Toshirō Mifune and Takashi Shimura. I apologize if I butchered those names, which I most likely did. But this film is said to be one of the most influential and greatest films ever made. And it inspired great films such as A Bug's Life and Mad Max. Yes, A Bug's Life. The perfect adaptation of Seven Samurai. But for real, it spawned a whole Western franchise called The Magnificent Seven. You know, was a whole franchise started off of this. And, you know, I mean, tons of other things were inspired by this film. I did see a news article that said, "Oh, this film was one of the first films to have a final battle in the rain." So every film after this film to have a final battle in the rain clearly was inspired by Seven Samurai. And I'm like, I feel like that's too broad. You know, maybe that's just me. So yeah, I'm pretty sure having the idea of a final battle in the rain is too broad of an idea to say, oh, Seven Samurai invented that idea. I mean, I just feel like it's scenic, you know, it adds a lot of drama. But sure, maybe Seven Samurai was one of the first to do it. But again, I feel like it's just too much of a broader idea to say, oh, that every film that has a final battle in the rain is inspired by or is, you know, an adaptation of Seven Samurai. I feel like that's just kind of strange, you know? Then again, A Bug's Life has a quote that is a reference to Seven Samurai, and an article said, oh, that it must mean that it's directly influenced by Seven Samurai. And I'm like, no. It's a very influential movie. Of course, one of the most influential movies ever made is going to be referenced. No shit. I'm just saying. I don't know. But, I don't think really... Like, this film is very long, okay? It is a 3.5 hour long epic, you know? And it is a very, you know, like, long movie, but again, it's not boring. You know, maybe that's just because I love Kurosawa, and I just think that he was a master of his craft. He could literally, like, just he was so good. You know, ever since I saw Ran, I just fell in love with his movies, and this is no different. I love this movie, and I really think that it was just the way it's put together. Like, I think his characters are very well written, and the fact that, like, it's dramatic, but it's not, like, over-dramatic, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of this felt pretty authentic, and obviously there were, like, caricatures, there were, like, different personalities with each character, but the characters felt authentic, I guess I already said. But, I don't know, I got really into it, and also, just, like, the little things. Like, I feel like, even though this film is 3.5 hours, you might say that that's too long, but I mean, with the scale of this movie, I think, I mean, it's an epic. You know, it's an action epic. You know, obviously, a movie like this, I don't really think they could have cut a lot of stuff from this film. I feel like a lot of it was pretty important. You know, I really think that this film kind of had to be this long to kind of take it all in. You know what I mean? It's obviously, as I said, it's a very long movie. But does that mean it's necessarily boring? No. I mean, the fact that it's 3.5 hours and it's not boring or anything like that is it's engaging. You know, you want to see what happens to these characters. You care about these characters, you know? Like, it gets you into the story. It gets you into the action. It gets you into the things that is happening and, like, what's going on. And the Seven Samurai, the titular Seven Samurai that the film is about. But also the village that they were hired to protect. It's very interesting, you know? And it's really good. And I don't really know how else to describe it. Again, I'm not like a film, like, connoisseur, you know? I'm not like a film study guy. Like, I can't really look into the nitty-gritty of this film, but I can say it's damn good. And I can definitely see why it was super influential. I can absolutely see why this film was incredibly influential. I can definitely see, like, why this film was so impactful and why so many people say it's one of the greatest films ever made, because it's genuinely just really, really freaking good. Like, it's just so good. And I don't really know what else to say. I'm just kind of saying, like, if you haven't seen this film, you should. Like, I mean, I know it's very long. It's 3.5 goddamn hours, but there is an intermission in the middle. So maybe what you could do is you could watch the first 90 minutes of the film, right? Or, like, not the first 90 minutes, but, like, the first half of the film before intermission. And then you could stop there and then pick up on the second half after the intermission. And, you know, you're good. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I think that would work. What I liked about the film, I really liked the scenery. You know, I really liked the dynamics between the samurai themselves and the villagers. I really liked the antics the drunk one would get up to. He was probably the most unique samurai, I'd say. He was the most unique one in the fact that he wasn't traditional at all. Like, in every way, he was not a traditional samurai whatsoever. And he was bloodthirsty. It seemed like he was kind of, like, shifty. You know, he was humorable, I guess. You know, he was just very strange. He was an oddball, right? And it kind of hints that he was born a farmer, and his life was torn apart by samurai, so he became a samurai. It's kind of left up to, like, I think he's the most interesting character in the movie, and my favorite character, and I don't really even know, like, how to describe it, but I just think, I mean, I don't know, he was a fun character because of all the shit that he would get up to, but also, like, the like, small moments, too, like, the emotional moments, because he truly did care. Like, he acted like he didn't, but he did care about the other samurai and the villagers. He did care about them. He just kind of displayed it in his own way, you know? And I think his death is the most poetic one, because literally he gets shot twice, and he just stands up and pretty much charges at the bandit boss and kills him. And his last breath, literally what he does is kill somebody. He gets the most kills out of all the samurai. He's fucking bloodthirsty throughout this film. And it's probably because he had rage. He had rage built up his entire life, you know? And he seemed like that kind of guy. I mean, the way he gets recruited into the Seven, they didn't even approach him to get recruited into the Seven. He stumbled into their inn, I guess. He stumbled in there while he was drunk, and he rambled and he chased them around the room. Ling was very unique about him, you know, like his whole aura around him, I guess. But he's definitely my favorite character in the fact that he's just so different from everybody else, and the actor that plays him is great. He's also in Throne of Blood, I believe. Toshirō, I believe his name was. He's in Throne of Blood. And leading her, I believe that's a Macbeth adaptation, and he plays Macbeth in it, that's cool, right? Like, he's a great actor, and I really do think that, but also there's other good characters, but one thing I really like about it at the end of the film, is that, you know, I like how most of them are dead. 4 of them die, right? And only 3 make it out. And it's funny because it's like, it's the master, like the old, like the veteran samurai, his friend, and his apprentice. They're the only ones who make it out. And it feels like they only really made it out by chance. You know, they could have gone out like anybody else did. But I like that. And it also just makes me wonder how the adaptations are going to fare. Because, like, if I watch Magnificent Seven, is it going to be like this? A whole hour's been removed, right? So is it going to be even close to as good as this? I don't know. And I honestly, I want to know. Leave it down in the comments. Should I watch and review The Magnificent Seven? But with that being said, let me know. Should I watch The Magnificent Seven? Should I review it? This and that, yada. But with that being said, I would absolutely recommend this film. Absolutely recommend it. Because it's just great. And, I mean, honestly, as I said, I'm not great with analysis. So maybe you could get even more out of it than I did, because I'm not great at analyzing things. So maybe you could pick up on little details that I didn't. Maybe you could pick up on little character moments that I didn't. Possibly. You could get even more out of this movie than me. And that's a plus. But I would say, watch this movie. It's great. It's awesome. If you love movies, love like history of cinema, or if you just want to watch a really good, long, epic, this is for you. It's samurai. Watch it. It's really freaking good. And with that being said, I would rate this film a 9 out of 10. Yes. And, yeah, I think I was saying I think I was saying peace. So guys, hope you liked this video. Share with friends, subscribe, turn notifications on, comment below if you liked it. And I've been around to HD off to protect the village. You know, samurai they like carried like they had like 2 swords. They'd have like a long sword and a short sword, and like it was all about like loyalty. That was like what samurais were about, was like loyalty and like honor and shit. So the reason they had the short sword, long sword was for fighting, but the short sword was like kind of like a exemplary of like how they would like ritualistically like kill themselves at a moment's notice for like loyalty purposes, you know. But like the Toshiro's character, he didn't have a short sword. He only had a long sword. So he was like a strange, different samurai. Like he didn't have the same code that other samurai do. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Should I do that a third time? I don't really know if I did a good enough pause. Is that good? Was that the third take good? I don't know. Maybe. There's something in there.